It's been called a social experiment, post-apocalyptic training. Some call it home. A temporary city emerges in the desert once each year. No status, no government, no currency. A society focused on the individual. 1 week celebrating humanity, expression, and collaboration. A pilgrimage to disconnect, to look inward, and to explore the self. No inhibitions, no judgment, no rules. By the end, art and buildings will be burnt to ashes. No trace of them will be left. Until next year, where it will be rebuilt again. One by one they arrive, into dust storms and scorching heat. The city has been constructed and dismantled over 30 times, entirely by its attendees. A community eager to reconnect, to explore, to build what their imaginations can conceive. Thousands of strangers come as they are and share what makes them unique. This experiment isn't about discovering a supreme being. It's about discovering what's supreme in ourselves. A recalibration of the spirit. A reminder to step outside our bubbles, put down our screens. And rediscover ourselves above the noise. To surrender, let go, and co-create a world together.
2 years since our last burn. Today, day 1. You are embarking on that journey.
To bring your dreams to life.
To build something, maybe for the first time.
To learn new skills.
To make new friends.
To discover yourself.
To push the boundaries of your creative potential.
To bring your fire to the burn.
To take your fire to your life.
To spark your wonder, your curiosity.
Look for new sources of inspiration. Amateurs that have become great artists and contributors.
People here tonight that push you dream bigger.
And everything that you do from this moment to the moment you step on the playa, just as much a part of your Burning Man experience.
This is Burning Man. Here, now.
So, New York, are you ready to burn? I don't think they heard us. New York, are you ready to burn?
Beyond the man, you have the temple, which is the Pardot, and this entire area is full of art, sculpture, experiences. So this entire playa is full of incredible things that you could not possibly imagine. And this area in the grid is like the residential area, and beyond that is where the art lives.
So your theme camp will basically get placement in Burning Man. And another thing that we do is, my button's not working. Ed, can you, oh, back one, back. One more, okay, sorry, forward, one more. Forward. Tickets. All right. Everyone's favorite subject. Okay, so tickets are notoriously hard to get at Burning Man. And theme camps help with that because theme camps have what used to be called direct group sales, and now we have steward sales, just renaming, it's the same exact thing. So a lot of our members come through this sale of tickets, and then there's obviously the main sale of tickets.
So to give you a little context, back in 2012, that was the first year that Burning Man really started to like sell out. And that's never really happened before. So when tickets sold out and theme camps didn't have access to tickets anymore, those theme camps couldn't exist. So the org was like, all right, well, how do we deal with this problem? They decided to allocate certain tickets for critical camps to make sure the infrastructure of Burning Man stays alive. And that still carries on today. So they've changed the name from direct group sale and now it's a steward sale, but Ray, you can tell a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so about the what sale? Steward sale, yeah. So the steward sale, we're going to get a lot of tickets through there, and then basically campers who are participating with us, which you're going to learn all about that tonight, are going to basically be the first stuff to get our tickets. So these are some key dates you need to know. For the experienced burners, you guys know this stuff, so we'll go quickly through. But if you have questions and you want to know anything about it, the guy in the rubber ducky raft right there is our ticket master, Joseph. Now you know. We also want you to know that there is a whole community of camps here in New York that you should also look into, because what's important is that you find a group of people that you connect with, that you love, that you have fun with, that you get to learn what it is, like get ready for the big burn. And that community that you build is really the most important thing. And this right here are just some of the camps out there. You can take a picture of it, or you can see me afterwards.
Yeah, many of the people in this room are familiar with Costume Cult, camp with Costume Cult, are actively trying to camp with Costume Cult this year. But there are so many different types of camps and different types of groups that you can definitely get to know. And the most important thing is we just want you to burn. We want you to experience this. And regardless of what your interests are, what your affinities are, you can find a group out there that feels right for you. So whether it's Costume Cult, whether it's another camp, the most important thing is that you get exposed to this experience because it really is life-changing.
So that's the big stuff. There'll be lots more in other meetings. We're just going to give you a little high level throughout the whole night. But now we're going to talk a little bit about one of the principles that is so dear to us, gifting, because we are.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia, if we haven't met. So I hope that you all listened to me and went to the costume tent because we're going to do an activity now. If you didn't, it's okay. I forgive you. You can do the activity later, but we're going to do an activity now to explore the concept of gifting. I know there's a lot of veterans here, but it's an opportunity to kind of rediscover the principles for yourself. So starting with gifting, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to turn to someone next to you, behind you, and you're going to give them whatever you picked out from the costume tent. Maybe you don't know this person, so introduce yourself, or maybe you do. And I want you to create for them why you're giving them this gift. Why did you pick it out from the costume tent? And I want you to, hold on, not yet. I want you to really give them the experience of a gift, whether or not the actual item really matters. You have 3 minutes. Go. All right. So clearly you all had a lot of fun with that. So I want to hear just one word from a couple people. What was that experience like? Give me one word. Just shout it out. Creepy. Okay. Someone else. Fun. Wholesome. Surprising, magical. Great. So that kind of gives you a sense, a little taste of what gifting is like at Burning Man and what gifting costumes is like, which we'll come back to in a minute. So gifting is this really special principle that we have at Burning Man that really governs the way we interact with each other at the burn. This is not how people normally operate in the world. Most of us live in a capitalist society where we trade things. We trade goods and services for money. But at Burning Man, it's not like that. We don't barter, we don't trade, we don't buy things. We give out of the kindness of our hearts. We give for no reason at all. And that's a really unique aspect of Burning Man. It gives us this opportunity to recreate to reinvent how we interact with each other. And maybe you even bring some of that back into your life after the burn. So at Costume Cult, we give costumes, or that's what people think. Costumes, though, are just a commodity, just another item. What we actually give is an experience. We give the experience of getting to recreate who you are when you walk out of that costume tent and you walk down the runway. So think back to when you were a kid and you were playing dress up. You put on a Superman cape or a ballerina tutu, maybe a firefighter costume. And when you put that on, you weren't pretending to be Superman or a ballerina or a firefighter. You really were that for the time you're wearing the costume. And that's the experience that we give people when they come to the costume tent. So many of us were just at Love Burn, so I'll share a story from there. Who was at Love Burn most recently? How many people came to the costume tent?
Yeah!
Okay, we missed a few of you, so next time, don't miss us at the Big Burn. So I was working in the costume tent on Saturday, and there was a person who walks up to me, and they have this blue strip of fabric twisted around their body. And they said, "Can you help me put on this dress? I've never worn a dress before." And I said, "Yeah, of course, let's look at it." So I realized, okay, well, first of all, it's backwards, and you have it inside out. So let's just take it off and start over. So I helped them put on this dress, and it's the beautiful dress, skater dress, all spandex, pale blue, comes up to the neck, sequin bodice, big tutu. And this person was just so lit up once they got it on. And they looked me in the eye and they said, "My inner woman wanted to come out, and now she can come out because I'm wearing this dress. And she has so much that she wants to give to the world." And you now know that possible. It's a real story. I did not make that up. Those are the kinds of things that happen for people in the costume tent, but really at an experience, a gifting experience at Burning Man. It could be anything, any kind of gifting experience. So the last thing I'll say is some of you might be thinking, "I'm not really into costumes, that's not my thing. I'm a doer, I want to build stuff." And there's a place for you here too. So you don't have to dress up and be, crazy wearing LEDs or whatever to be part of Costume Cult or to go to Burning Man. You can really create in your own experience and participate however you want. And that leads us to our next principle on participation, which Alyssa is going to tell you more about.
to imagine, and for the virgins, bear with me because you'll experience this in a few months. I want you to imagine that you are coming fresh to the playa. First time, you're getting off the Burner Express, and you see this place and you have no idea what the hell is going on. You're in the middle of nowhere, and you're not really sure what to expect. And the first thing that you see is this. This is a box. It is the box office. This is where you get your tickets if you are waiting for will call. So you pass through the box office and you talk to somebody, they give you their ticket, and you move on. This person who gives you the ticket, the person who built the box office, these are volunteers. Every single thing that you see at Burning Man is built by volunteers from the minute you walk in to the minute you leave. So then you go throughout the city and you get greeted by a bunch of people who have been standing in the hot sun all day and are making virgins ring a bell and roll around in the dirt. And those people are volunteers too, right? So they're doing it because they love it. They want people to feel excited, and this gives them joy. Then you see the streets. You see all of these streets. You see street signs that are made, put up by volunteers. You see Black Rock City Airport. There is an actual functioning airport in Black Rock City. This is an actual photo that I took from a plane above Black Rock City. And it is run and staffed by volunteers, by pilots who bring their planes to give you rides because they love it and they want to volunteer to give you that experience. There are theme camps that have lecture series and different events, yoga classes, all sorts of things. Every single experience that you have, every single camp, this shade structure, every single person, this person speaking here, all volunteers. This is another really fun camp, just in case you ever want to check it out. That's one of our campers from last year. He's probably watching right now. And then you see these crazy big camps that maybe some of you know about. This is Death Guild. Death Guild builds the Thunderdome, which is one of the most incredible camps on Playa. And they create this experience that is known all over the world. All volunteer run. Another fan favorite, Sweat Garden. Then you pass by a post office, right? There's a post office set up in the middle of Playa. Volunteers. Bus station, volunteers. BMIR radio, fully functioning radio station. Right? Every burner is listening to it on the long line in and on the long line out. All volunteer run.
I'm seeing video of Calgary's complaining they didn't have video.
And here is the DMV where every single art car at Burning Man has to get inspected. Now, if you think about every single car that's here is built by someone who just wanted to build it for the hell of it. And then it has to wait in this long ass DMV line, just like the real DMV, to get inspected by a guy in a clipboard, one guy, one clipboard, who is a volunteer. The DMV is the Department of Mutant Vehicles. I'm sorry, the Department of Mutant Vehicles. Thank you. Then you see the Black Rock Rangers. These are uniformed, trained mediators that are designed to keep the peace in the city, right? So these are people who genuinely believe that they want to make a difference in Black Rock City through their service. So they go through special training, and they're designed to help people during conflict. Are there any Rangers in the room? Is Dan here? Dan? Yeah! Rangers, we appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you have done for the community. Coffee shops, bars, nightclubs, human carcass wash. You dirty? Go to the human carcass wash. Also, Dr. Veronica, we love that place. A fake Michelin star dim sum restaurant. It exists. The French Quarter. It exists. Anyway, the point of all of this is culture belongs to those who participate in it. So because every single thing that you see, every single interaction that you have at Burning Man is made by volunteers, every single person has an active part in the evolution and creation of what the culture looks like on the ground. So when you shape the activities that are going on all around you, when you determine what to do, how to act, that's the building, that you're building culture here. And we're very fortunate because we all have the opportunity to co-create something very beautiful, which is not something that we have in our normal day-to-day life. So the principles, the ethos, everything that we see is developed by us, by volunteers and by our participation. And right now in New York, we're at a pretty big inflection point, right? So COVID happened, a lot of people moved away, a lot of camps have faded away, and we're here as people who care about this community. And I'm asking you, and I'm begging you, and I'm hoping that you guys feel inspired to participate, because your participation is what's going to keep this community alive. So I also want to point out that participatory culture is hard, right? It's hard work. You're going to have to unlearn a lot of things. You're going to have to kind of rethink, think outside the box. You're going to have to deal with a lot of people, and some are going to be very difficult, right? Difficult people, different life set of experiences. But when you work hard with a group of people that have a common goal, common belief system, you get to experience something that we don't get to experience in our everyday life. So the long and short of it is, you get out of a situation, you get out what you put in, right? So everything that you get out is equivalent or greater than what you put in. So we just came back from Loveburn. Many of us put in hundreds of hours into Loveburn. Every single camper was there for at least one meeting a week, some 2 or 3 meetings a week. Ray and I, 20 meetings a day. Fine. But we all had this incredible experience because what it allowed us to do was to build relationships ahead of time, become friends, understand who the people that are camping with us, what they're like, what they're good at, how we can collaborate with them. And we want to show you a little bit of what our Loveburn looks like. Woo!
that amazing video for Loveburn. I'm sorry, I'm really underdressed for the occasion, but hi, my name is Scott. Hi! I had the delight and the pleasure to co-lead the kitchen during the Loveburn, and as you guys see right now, it is one of those occasions that gave me the opportunity to really step up, to do something a little bit different, to be a part of a bigger community. And I know that there are different areas in Burning Man and in Loveburn and in Costincourt that you can participate in, be a part of it, and most importantly, fulfill that civic responsibility. In the kitchen, we face adversity, we face challenges, we face things that made us have to think on our toes. And through with those people that I was with, I built a community, I built a family, I built something that carried me, and more importantly, I saw people that really stepped up, or people who did things that they never thought they could do. People fed 100 people, and I was like, they just didn't believe it was in them. And you burn in the kitchen as you burn out there, and you find these things inside of you that let you move forward. And in the end, you provide this essential thing to the camp, to your family, which is a heart, somewhere to congregate, somewhere to stop by, to share your adventures, to share your stories, and then to fuel yourself for the rest of the night. Because honestly, that big meal, like you get food all over, but in the end, that big meal is what will maybe differentiate you from having like an amazing, life-changing night. And I just want to thank you again, Costincourt, for providing me this experience, and for everyone who participated in this.
Love you!
Happy burn! Now who's next?
Can you flip the keynote?
More food.
Yeah, Burning Man did ruin my life, by the way, but then the best thing to wait.
All right. So I think I'll take that mic.
You got it.
Okay, the next section we're talking about is that Burning Man doesn't just happen at Burning Man or at regionals. It's right here. It's in this room. It's in New York. We are very, very lucky to have a strong Burning Man community here in New York. And there's just so much life about it, and we're so proud to be a part of it as Costincourt. A couple of the things that we do, for example, are parties that you might know, like the Hornball, Black in March, the Black and Light Ball in May, Freak Show in July, and Halloween, obviously our floating Halloween parade in November. I lost the sliver for SantaCon in December.
We also have a bunch of smaller community events as well. We have a small Lunar Valentine's Day party. We do an alternative Oscars party where we dress up and we are the celebrity. Dance parade, mermaid parade. We have a holiday social. Costume Jim is going to come up and talk about all of those things in more detail in just a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, come out to the events. I mean, get involved, like volunteer, do something with it. We're going to show you what it looks like, what this community can create. We obviously don't want to spend a lot of time talking about all these events, but we wanted to just show you one that's pretty special to us, Freak Show from the summer.
Awesome, yeah. So I just wanted to share with you something that was super special about Freak Show. It was a community event in July, and we were all coming out of COVID time, and people were just so hungry to get involved. And something that Ray and I are so proud of is that over just 4 days, we had 503 volunteer hours. It's crazy the amount of time that people put into building this party just because they wanted to. Right? The reason that we do this is not because we get paid, is not for any kind of notoriety, it's because we love it and we care about it. And the 4 days, 503 volunteer hours, and that doesn't even include pre-party crafting and the events that we had. And that's the opportunities that you get to really build relationships and talk to people and get to know your community.
And we do this for fun. I mean, we don't get paid to do this. We got jobs. We do real stuff.
Yeah, we do real fun.
But it's fun. Well, to tell you a little bit more about how this all got started and what it means, our founder, Costume Jim.
Thanks, guys. And nobody is more excited about all of this than I am because, holy crap, the new management team and where this is going, I can finally start having a life again. But a quick history lesson and the origins of Costume Cult. It really started because I knew I love costuming, and just dressing up in a costume, it helped you be more you sometimes than you normally could. So the love of costuming plus lessons being learned in the New York City underground art scene, going back to the 80s and 90s, cool shit that was happening back in those days. And then actually, we didn't start at Burning Man, but really more the New York City Halloween Parade, also a little bit of the Coney Island Mermaid Parade. But when I first hit the playa in 2001, it was like, holy crap, whatever used to be my life is now all over. So we started Costume Cult in 2002. There were 7 of us. 2003, we hit the Esplanade where people like MC Christopher showed up. And then in 2005, we started to roll out our annual events that just made us a year-round collective, where while Burning Man is our biggest project, there's something going on every month, and you really no longer have to go out to the playa to be part of burner culture. So, what is Costume Cult, and are we a cult? And why do we spell it with K's, okay? So there's a lot of high concept stuff. Some people don't get the hell what I'm talking about, but sometimes I do. But when you spell things with a K, when it should be a C, it implies there's a twist, an edge, or some sort of social commentary or culture jam. So our cult is really an open arts collective, but we're also paying homage to one of our earliest inspirations, the San Francisco Cacophony Society, who did they were the people behind the Idiot-A-Rod, which is coming in 9 days, and there'll be a post about that tomorrow, and Santarchy, we're calling it now, because that was the word before SantaCon, which of course blew up everywhere. And just in general, lunatic things that started in San Francisco, spread to Brooklyn Cacophony, and then somewhere along the way, I got the bug. Costume is not the product, as we've been saying. It is the act of social participatory costuming. It is, it's not what you wear, it's definitely how you wear it. So whether you are chic and fabulous or geek, playing a role or being ridiculous, it all does seem to come together in Costume Cult and the many things we do. And when you think of like all of the crazy stuff you can do for fun, costuming really is an amazing, socially positive thing. It's participatory theater where we make things together before the event. We make costumes, we make sets, and then we play together. We have very interesting activities. And then, of course, with our MCs and DJs, we play together and dance together on the dance floor. And then we share it afterwards. Costume culture and social media are kind of made for each other. So you met all these fabulous people. You can't remember their names. Here comes thousands of photos with their name tagged on it. Now you can find out who the hell that person was. And then this cycle, this fierce cycle of awesome keeps repeating, and you ramp it up. You want to be better because everybody else is having so much fun. And if you like fun, let's face it, costume partying is the highest form of partying. Oh yeah, which is why you need the social media to remind you of what the hell happened. But just like Burning Man, we come up with generally high concept themes with sort of an easy access layer to it. You know, for example, a few years ago for Halloween, we did a Hieronymus Bosch themed party, To Hell and Bosch, and of course that turned on the art geeks. And if you know what Hieronymus Bosch's art is, it's some crazy shit. But everybody can bring the hellishness for Halloween. So high concept with an easy access layer, and then other fun things that we've done over the years. I mean, so many things it's hard to count. I remember the year at Mars 2112, that crazy Martian-themed restaurant that was like a cave system, where us and Disorient got 1,200 people in there for a high-concept black light party. That was freaking epic. There was the year that we talked the New York Police Department into giving us our own protest corral for the St. Patrick's Day parade because we had a legitimate problem and we needed to be leprechauns against foreign parades. So I think the cops are actually our biggest fans because the people who run that parade are total sticks in the mud. For a while we did ZombieCon, which was the largest zombie walk, and the year that we ran 300 zombies through the Bloomingdale's perfume floor, and then walked down Fifth Avenue shopping for brands and leaving like handprints on the windows of the posh stores was pretty sick. And then I also think about partying with our DC friends at Catharsis, a 48-hour burner event, looking up at the Washington Monument and going, holy crap, this is like burner culture, like in the center of the world and getting bigger. And then lastly, supreme adult fun for sure, but I think one of the most fulfilling things we do every year is at the Figment Festival, where we reserve a lot of our kids' costumes for kids, and just the joy, and adults that actually somehow get into these things. But like the gratitude of the parents, and just seeing those kids playing all around Figment the entire time, really, it brings a tear to the eye, I think, more than some of the other things that we do. But so our mission is bringing people together through all of these events, our events, but also collaborations. Once again, cult. It is culture. It is all of us. It is all the things. Costume Cult has put together more collaborations probably than any group in burner culture, because that's been the idea from the very beginning. And yes, we help people develop their inner artists, building bridges from diverse people, very diverse ages, internationalisms, ethnicities. We have brought so many people together, and this sort of partying, this sort of social interaction does create community in lasting ways. And then, who are we as an organization? We are an all-volunteer, mission-driven organization. We're nonprofit, and we're going, now that all these amazing people are showing up now, we are diversifying, we're decentralizing community structures. Honestly, we've had some amazing people run camp their second year. So don't think that this is all worked out yet. Everybody here who wants to camp with us or get involved with our events, there is plenty of room. And now, thinking about us year round, yes, there are galas. April, the Horn Ball, April 23rd. Black and Light Ball, our black light, high concept black light party, I believe May 21st. Freak Show, July 30th. We also have Dance Parade coming up, Mermaid Parade coming up, and then our 25th first annual Halloween parade float. I can't even keep up anymore. And on and on. And then there's just all the crafting meetups. You get to know people. There's the big group stuff, and then there's little groups that break out all the time. And it's not just in person, it's also online. And then with this global reset, we are just getting warmed up. We had a big year in 2021, and I'm smelling that we're gonna have a bigger year now. And then, as you're wondering like who to talk to, it's pretty obvious who the Costume Culters are. I am a professional recruiter and partnership guy. I am very interested in helping develop the events, but also we are developing our 501c3 now, and it's not just what I'm talking about. There is a bigger opportunity to do something very positive for the world, and anybody with nonprofit experience, that's another thing. So here we are, our greater mission of making the world a better place through art, fun, and costumes, and strap in for a big 2022 and beyond.
Sing now. You want to hear? Okay. Is that where you want? All right.
I don't have a spreadsheet today, but I still carry paper. Once upon a time, 3 months arrived at a beautiful but quiet village. Nobody paid any attention to them. When they asked if anyone could spare some food, they were told that there was hardly any food in town, and definitely none to spare. Then we will make stone soup and share with everyone, exclaimed the monks. They pulled out a small pot and filled it with water. They set it in the middle of the village square and built a large fire underneath. They produced a lovely bag, removed 3 very ordinary stones, and dropped them in the water with great ceremony. "What does stone soup taste like?" asked a curious little girl. "Oh, it is the most delicious soup in the entire world, and you get to try some," said the monk. "Well, if I'm eating too, we're gonna need a bigger pot. My mom has one," she said, and off she went to bring a bigger pot. People in the village started getting curious and peeked through their windows and doors, chatting with each other. Stone soup? I wonder if it tastes good. Well, he did say we could try it. And soon a large crowd gathered with curiosity to watch them stir. The monk said, I do love stone soup. It's stone soup with carrots. That's hard to beat. Overhearing this, a villager offered a few baskets of carrot. After all, what is just carrots, he thought? Nothing special. A good soup needs a salt and a little bit of pepper, said the other monk. And another villager said, oh, I have. And off they went to get some. Magnificent. Thank you, exclaimed the monk. You know, I once had some stone soup with beef in it, and it was fit for a king, said the third monk, and was happy to see when a villager brought forth pieces of beef to add to the soup. I bet tomatoes would taste good in it too, said one of the villagers, bringing a few tomatoes to life. Ooh, and maybe onions. I got onions, exclaimed an old lady. And so it went until soon there were also potatoes and barley and corn and greens in the soup. Now it was a feast. As monks happily shared with the villagers, everyone agreed they had never before tasted anything as delicious as stone soup. They all sang and danced and celebrated well into the night. Why do I bring this random childhood tale that maybe, maybe not, you have heard before? Well, it's because this one little fable is the secret to our frontage. We have a 3-stone soup. Our first stone, it is our New York City beacon on Playa. We bring you that place where wherever you are, however far you go, whether it's at night, in the middle of the dark, or right when the sun is rising and you're just crawling back to camp. And you can find us. You can find us quickly and easily. Our second stone is the frame for gifted performances. We give you our Brooklyn Night Party, which is a huge bash with fire spinners and amazing things. Or we can give you a nice quiet sunrise. Ooh, ooh, there's a DJ. Let's go. Kind of activity, right? Very impromptu. Or we can just dance our butts off, you know, because we can.
Okay,
But ultimately, we want to give you fabulousness. We want you to have a space where you can bring to us that amazing performance that we know you have inside. Now, that brings us to our third stone, which, of course, hello, it's our co-created fantasy. It is creating this scenario where you can dive into, where everything is just magical enough that you can forget who you are, and after you've grabbed those little pieces of the costume tent, without even realizing that you're opening yourself to being that pirate, or that little bit of yourself that's a goddess, or you know what, I'm gonna be a freaking sausage. Whatever it is that is inside of you, we want to build that frame around so that you know that you can be, and just be yourself and show it to us, and just, as Julia had said before, live your person, not just pretend to be. So, how do we create this? Well, like the fable, our 3 rocks are nothing but rocks with a little bit of water. That's all we burn. You know, we put it there, and then we ask our community of campers. You know, we show them our rocks, and we just, what do we have? You know? Well, normally you would think frontage, artists, all of them creatives. Oh yes, but no, you know, because we need the little salt and spices that give our soup its depth and flavors. It is not just artists, okay? Because we need all types of ingredients to help create the perfect balance. And so, for a metaphorical boiling rocks and water, we must add the people that actually build stuff to tell the artist what material can turn that dream into reality. The people that keep an eye on the numbers to tell the builders to think of another material within our budget. Troubleshooters to say, you know what, let's do this instead. Engineers to map it out and tell us where to put what. Software magicians to do all that CAD. Or create a stencil, a flyer. Hands to hold brushes. Follow IKEA instructions. Carriers of big and small things. Holders of big and small things. Lures. Bluffers. Make sure that we eat, that we stay hydrated, that we get sunblock. It's really needed. Maniacs. To keep track of everything and everyone. Marie Kondo aficionados to help organize. Those who bring something that their grandmother taught them or put an old hobby to use in a whole new way. And obviously, our LED tinkers to light the whole shit up. And in adding all these ingredients, we are not just creating a frontage, we are co-creating. We are co-creating our inside jokes. We are co-creating our bonds, our friendships, our very, very silly jokes. We're teaching each other new things, new techniques, old things all over again. We are here to share a piece of our soul. So, the rocks in the water have started to boil once again. What ingredient would you like to bring?
And the people who put together these presentations at 2 in the morning. Amazing, I love it. All right, so we're going to move on. We want to talk a little bit now about bringing dreams to life. Rosie, are you here? Wait. Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh.
Hi, Ray!
Ah, sorry. Okay, so Rosie is going to... Wrong slide, sorry. Like I said, 2 in the morning. Rosie is going to tell us a little bit about this year's theme, about how waking dreams are going to be part of bringing our imagination to life.
I was taking your name. Hi, everyone. Isn't the energy in here amazing? Isn't this community amazing? Doesn't it feel good to be back together? And welcome new people into the space. Yes. I'm so impressed with everyone who's here this evening, how you're showing up, what you're bringing. And I want to say very genuinely that I love you. I've been part of this community for a very long time. And when you were asking how long people have been going, you stopped at 10 plus years. I want to know who started going before 2000. Anybody? Yeah, Christopher, yes. Were you there before 95? No. No, okay. So our story about the theme this year starts back in 1995. So the very first theme was attempted in 1995 by Larry Harvey. He said, I want to make it romance under the sea. And Larry was a romantic at heart, but he was trying to say that to 8,000 anarchists. And none of them were having it. So 1996 went from romance to the Inferno. And the biggest art installation was Hellco. And it was a theme about how the playa had been taken over by this corporation run by the devil. And literal anarchy ensued. On the night that the man burned, the next day, Harley Dubois, who was one of the 6 cultural founders of Burning Man, she unzipped her tent and came out. Things were burning. She burst into tears, and she thought she would never be involved with Burning Man again. She is, by the way, the person who started the volunteers department. She started most of the infrastructure departments that build and run the city. And her job, as she likes to say, is to help people be happy. So that was the very first actual theme in 96. It led to total chaos. And then my very first year was in 2000. And the theme was the body. When I encountered that year, I remember running into an art piece that was about 15 feet tall, and it was this giant welded rib cage. And there was a swing inside, and it was like a bird cage. And I remember climbing up and like bouncing on it and engaging with this giant piece of art. Now, if any of you have built an art piece prior to 2000, you would have engaged with the art department. But to be with the theme of the body in 2000, the art department changed to the artery. So this is some of the influence that the theme has. Now, in my early years, I didn't pay much attention to the theme because frankly, I was partying my face off. Fast forward a few years, 2004, the theme that year was hope and fear, and I had chilled out and I started paying more attention. That was a great year. Yes, right? Okay, so one of my favorite art pieces that year was by 3 crews out of Los Angeles, and they built the Hope Flower and the Fear Trap. Do you remember this? Yeah, okay, so they took these giant cherry picker cranes and they made this huge articulating daisy with petals that closed and opened. That was your crew? Oh my God! Thank you! Thank you! Sincerely, thank you. That was one of my favorite moments. I remember standing out off of 10 o'clock and they were just randomly there because that's how Burning Man works. And I'm standing and this gigantic daisy is coming down and it's bowing down and it's being faced off by this huge Venus flytrap that frankly is terrifying. And they were battling back and forth, but really they were dancing and there I was in the middle of it. It was splendid. So fast forward 2008, the theme that year is American Dream. Me being a longtime San Francisco resident, and we were coming to the end of the Bush era, I was pissed off that we would have the American Dream be the theme. I was far too radical at that time. And you can't be too radical. Radical means from the root, from the very root essence. So when you arrive at Burning Man, you'll notice there's a big sign that says Welcome to Black Rock City. So for the American Dream theme that year, they had copied the Las Vegas iconic sign. It said, Welcome to fabulous Black Rock City. And the cool thing is that those signs are made by people's hands. They labor over it and pour their heart and love into it so that we have something cool as a marker when we cross off of the asphalt and onto the playa. So, does anybody know where the theme comes from?
The heart?
So, no, it doesn't. Yes, okay, so up until 2012, it was Larry Harvey's imagination that put the themes forward. And he wrote the themes and he labored over it for months. And he would usually have next year's theme done by August before this year's event was actually happening. He thought about it so deeply. Now, by 2013, he enlisted the help of a friend, Stuart Mangrum. Stuart Mangrum had been around, he has been around since the early 1990s. He's been involved with Burning Man, involved with the org. So he and Stuart started co-writing the themes, and the first one they worked on was Cargo Cult, 2013, Cargo Cult. Okay, yeah, and everybody was like, what the heck is Cargo Cult? Okay, now really what it was getting at is excessive materialism and worshiping materialism. Now, I, up to that point, had been one of the people, perhaps like you, who packed up my entire apartment and took it to the playa because I needed 15 pair of shoes and I needed 4 costumes for each day and I needed to make sure I had every single thing I could possibly need for the entire week. Now, I've been around for a long time. I take 1 pair of boots, I take 1 pair of flat shoes, I take 1 costume per day with different layers. I'm so happy. And if I forget something, what do I do? What do you do if you forget something? I provide. You ask a neighbor.
Costume Cult.
You go to Costume Cult. They bring everything. They bring New York City. So that was 2013, and Stuart and Larry co-wrote the themes until Larry's passing in 2018. So now here we are in 2022. By the time that the event happens, it will have been 3 years since our last experience on the playa. The theme this year is Waking Dreams. I spoke to Stuart last night and I said, what do you want people to really get from this? And he said, well, the theme is really meant to be one that's hopeful and playful. It's one that connects people. To be an inspiration. I said, where did the theme come from this year? Like, where was the deep juice? And he said, well, honestly, David Best wanted me to do a surrealist theme. So who's David Best? The original temple artist. Do you want to hear a little bit about him?
Yes.
Okay. So, in 2000, David had been coming to Burning Man for a few years, and he's an artist and he likes to work with junk. Okay, he's from Petaluma, California, and not far from his home, there's a factory that manufactures toy dinosaur models. And so they would throw out these big sheets of plywood that had all these intricate cutouts in them, and they put them behind the warehouse. So he went and collected these for about a year. He had all these materials. In 2000, he and his crew were getting ready to go out to the playa, and right before the event, a young man on their crew died in a motorcycle accident. And the crew was devastated, and they were like, oh, we can't go. And they all said Michael would want us to go. So they went and they built what was the precursor to the official temple. The official temple started in 2001. In the first 16 years of the temple, so from 2000 to 2016, David led the creation of 8 of them, and not in a row, because it's a massive undertaking. Has anybody here worked on the temple? And who here has had a moving, healing experience at the temple? Yeah, it's like significant stuff. And I want to share for those who haven't been yet to Burning Man, maybe you just went to your first regional event, I want to share with you what this culture does in the world. So in 2013, David was invited to start planning building a temple in Ireland. His wife has family roots in Ireland. And he had been invited by a group to go to the north of Ireland to a place called Derry, Londonderry. It's called Derry, Londonderry because it's been the site of conflict for hundreds of years, 800 years. And for 30 years, the Troubles raged in this town. And for 30 years, over the course of 30 years, 3,600 people were murdered or died in bombings or died in fires or died at the hands of the British military. And so he was invited there to build a Burning Man temple. And in Burning Man style, he engaged the local community. He showed up, he said, here's what we're going to do. And he engaged with community activists. They hired out-of-work carpenters. They got young people who didn't see hope for their future or didn't see a purpose in their future. They worked for 3 weeks to get this temple up. It was beautiful. It was up on this hillside that if you're Protestant, you never go to because it's totally dangerous. You will get beat up. And a lot of Catholics don't go up there either because it's dangerous. And so this is the site that they chose to build this temple. 40,000 people came to see this temple, including former members of the IRA, the Irish Republican Army. They had the mayor of Londonderry come, who's a Protestant. Like, this is serious peace healing work coming out of Burning Man culture. Today, Russia invaded Ukraine. There's serious stuff happening in the world, and what inspires me about being in this room and being part of this culture, and why I say I love you, is because that's what this culture makes possible. That's what your participation in this makes possible. So the Waking Dream theme is about bringing your dreams to life. Go out to the playa and be an amateur and create whatever you want to create. I say that I am a professional amateur. I've been doing this for so long. You can create anything, and you can bring that energy back out here to New York City, back to any part of the world that you go to. You will find yourself saying hello to strangers. You'll find yourself smiling at people on the subway, which in New York is really weird. This makes the world better. So the last thing Stuart wanted you to know, because I said, what would you like me to impart to the New York community? He said, don't take the theme too seriously. Have fun with it. And if it's your first year, do these 3 things. Practice survival skills. Practice radical self-reliance. Practice leaving no trace. And there was one more thing. He said, have a great time.
Yes.
So good, thank you. Speaking of having fun, who wants a runway show?
Christopher. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Costume Cult 2022. This is my 20th year with Costume Cult. We started just letting people in the dome, and then it started with a megaphone, and we just chucked people out of the costume dome because it was getting so crowded, and it turned into a runway, and hence, here we go. Everybody, we want you all to participate. Charlie, Liz, everybody, come up. Let's walk the runway, Costume Cult style. Let's hear for London. Nice, nice, nice. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Hot fire mushroom. Hot fire mushroom. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go, go, go. Tanya, show us how to work the runway. Joseph Hahn. Let's go. Here we go. Our supermodel Scott Brenner. Charlie! Let's go, Charlie! Andrea! You got a dynamic duo. Come on, guys. Make your dream come true. Come on up, Zebra. Come on, join us. Join the party. All are welcome at Costume Cult. You are the star.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you so much, everyone. That was so nice. Love seeing everyone's creativity. It's so wonderful. I want to bring it back a little bit to the theme for a second. So we just heard this amazing explanation of waking dreams and where it came from. And I want everybody to think about for a second, like, where we are physically in the world, right? We're in New York City, right? New York City is the place that people from all over the world come to fulfill their dreams, right? You have actors and singers and performers and entertainers, and you have people, entrepreneurs that just like want to realize their dreams in this city. And this place that you are in right now is the product of someone's dream coming to life that is a part of our community. And we want to introduce her. Anya, can you please come up?
Hi everyone. It's very surreal to be experience. This is like the biggest full circle moment for me ever. So when I first moved to New York, I had no idea about Burning Man or what New York really was or that it might look like this. I just knew that this was a place that was dynamic and you could do anything was possible. I was 18 years old. I didn't have work papers, and I moved here with my best friend, and we, our friendship revolved around making really weird shit, putting it in our bodies, and taking lots of LSD while doing that. So we moved to New York to do more of that. We didn't know exactly what and how that's all going to turn out, and so the first job that we got in the city, and this is the summer of 2005, I think, was driving bike rickshaws around Manhattan. Back then, you did not need a driver's license or work papers to do these things, and you could wear these crazy costumes and go and talk to strangers for money and get them to where they're going, hopefully safely. And so one day we were just driving around, and we saw two people. It was Stefan Spins and Annie Show, but we didn't know them at the time, and so it was two people in weird costumes carrying way too many hula hoops. Like walking and dropping them and just kind of like rolling down the street somewhere. And so of course we were like, hey, do y'all need a ride? And they're like, sure, we're going to this meeting. And so they were en route to a costume cult meeting that I think the project was like, it was a meeting about how do we make these giant gowns entirely out of candy for the windows of Dylan's Candy Bar in the city. And so we come up and it's a bunch of adults doing really weird shit. And we were amazed, and so we basically fit right in. We were students in Fashion Institute of Technology, and so the costume cultures were like, wow, y'all actually know how to do this, like, please. And then we realized that through participating, we could get into all these amazing parties even though we were underage, and that was extremely exciting. And so we naturally just started to equate partying with participation, and not just like, oh, I'm gonna go and be the life of the party, but no, I'm gonna go and build this like weird cave that we're all gonna go sit inside of and paint, each other's bodies. And so that to me was my first experience with what New York City means and what parties mean in New York. And so fast forward to 15 years later, we're here. And so I think that this very natural thing that Costume Cult showed me of what New York can be, what people can be, how we can interact with each other, is what naturally facilitated me and my best friend Kay starting House of Yes. And then knowing nothing about running a club, but knowing so much about what makes community, and getting into Burning Man and really living the 10 principles of participation and radical self-expression and urgency, and just being as ridiculous as possible, as hard as you can in the most collaborative way possible. Just through doing that fully, we've become, an incredibly successful club, which is still every day blows my mind, to where, Ian Schrager let us then do this club, which is much more conveniently located than the original club in Bushwick. And so it's just, it goes to show you that doing things really with full heart, with full creativity together, not giving a fuck about any rational reason, just doing it because it feels good and doing it because we love it, and because when we do it, it helps us love each other more through this collaboration. Just, allows really big things to happen in the real world on a day-to-day basis. So this week alone, I think we have a total of 12 events just between the two clubs. And these are all events of either people laying in costumes on a Thursday night on blow-up pillows, talking about how they're going to collaborate on some really big, ridiculous shit in the middle of the desert, to people wearing ridiculous costumes and going to a party and, it's celebrating this self-expression every single night. And so without theme camps and without us really actively participating and really doing it hard and to the max all the time, the world would just be a dollar less interesting place. So I want to thank Costume Cult for pulling me in and changing my life. And thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Maya. I love that story so much. So you just heard someone's dream that became a reality, and you might be thinking to yourself, I have so many things that I want to do, right? And so what's the first step of bringing your dreams to life? You just show up. You show up.
That's it.
That's all you need to do. You don't need to have any professional skills. You don't need to be an artist. You don't need to be a fabricator. You don't even know how to hold a drill, right? You just show up. And the idea here is that we all teach each other how to create. We all learn from each other. You learn how to do LEDs, you learn how to do welding, you learn how to do soldering and sewing through the power of the community. And by just showing up, you become a better version of yourself, and you can give back to the community just by showing up.
Yeah, and we do a lot, obviously. We're kind of ADD kids. And what that really does is it creates an opportunity for you to always have a time and place to do it. You don't have to show up to all of them. Just show up to one. You don't even have to be going to Burning Man. You especially don't have to be going to Burning Man to show up. As you can probably see here tonight, this is a community that is outside of Black Rock City. And showing up at any one of our crafting days or any one of our parties, or really just anywhere, even just to an event that burners happen to be frequenting, makes you part of engaging with this community.
one of the most important things that we want you to take away from this experience is that Burning Man is not equal to Black Rock City. Burning Man is here in this room. Burning Man is you networking and meeting your fellow creatives, meeting your fellow interested people here. Burning Man is going to crafting events. Burning Man is showing up and doing something that might be a little bit weird or like something that you've never done before. Burning Man starts right here in this room right now. And even if you don't get to Black Rock City, you can take the creative energy and build a community around it. And that is what Burning Man is. So I encourage you to meet people that are here, talk to people, get involved, ask us. We'd love to talk to you. Create an event of your own. You want to do something? Do it. That's the beauty of what this is. We want to empower you to create and do things and get people involved. Burning Man is right here, right now.
Yeah! So you might be asking, well, how do I know where to go? Well, here's how we communicate with you. You probably came here because we sent you an email. If you didn't, no problem. We will happily send it to you again. And in that email, there is a shared calendar that tells you all the things that we're doing to prep for Burning Man. Again, you don't have to be going to Burning Man to go. We have Facebook groups. I know, for old people, we're kind of old people that way. We're still using Facebook. So much of the Burning Man community is on Facebook. I don't get it, it just is a thing. So our Costume Cult group, that is the most active social media place that we're on. So follow us there. We do have an Instagram too, but we're really active there. And if you are definitely like, I want to go to Burning Man, I want to get ready for it, the Slack channel is also in there, where we're actually talking about very specifically what we're doing. Planning the frontages, concepting, ideating, figuring out like where skills fit together to make someone feel at home. It's all happening on the Slack channel. And
if you are interested in what's going on in the larger Burning Man community, not just in New York City, but all around the country, all around the world, you may have heard of Jackrabbit Speaks. I encourage every single person in this room to sign up for Jackrabbit Speaks. It is the Burning Man newsletter. You hear about artists, you hear about art grants, you hear about all the things that Burners Without Borders is doing all around the world to help people. It really is a wonderful source of knowledge, and it gives you a bigger perspective of what this community is about, not just the small scale art, but a big picture community building around the world.
all right, great. Well, and there is a burner happy hour right here at House of X, the first Wednesday of every month, which
Next
is, by the
Wednesday.
way, in just 6 days. So if you have a good time tonight, come out to that. It's not like this. There are some speakers, but it's not as much presentation, but it is definitely fun and it definitely gives you a chance to meet people. So we want to send out a few thank yous. Thank you, House of Yes and House of X. Thank you, Justin and Elon today for letting us use your beautiful, beautiful space. Thank you to all of our marvelous presenters. Thank you, Louis D, for the videos. For our Lover video was this guy. Our Freak Show video was this guy. Fantastic work he does.
And I'd like to point out all of these people that Ray is thanking, volunteers. Okay? So everything that's happening right now, this PowerPoint presentation, this guy filming right here, all these things, those people on the switchboard over there, volunteers. So that's what makes it magic, and that's what makes it really special.
Who else are we thanking?
We're thanking you guys!
We're thanking everybody! Thank you for showing up. You showed up, and just keep showing up, and that is what's going to make your experience really beautiful. You did it once, you're here, keep doing it, and I promise you, you're going to have an incredible Burning Man experience.